is Anusha Ujjola, and I'm going to present on Bulletproofing your upgrade to Oracle Database 23 AI, along with the best practices and a customer case study that I have, which I'm going to briefly talk about it. Hope you can leverage the best practices presented in this section to reduce the time to test and get on to the new releases and adopt the new technology that are there in our market. Along with me, I have Romit, and who's going to talk about securing your databases. And also I have GP and Beyond, who will probably ask the questions, and if there is anything that I'm unable to answer it, GP and Beyond will chime in and answer those questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat, and GP or Beyond would be able to answer those questions while I'm presenting. So this is the agenda. So it is as follows. We examine database upgrade challenges and how do we prepare before the upgrade, and tools to use for the testing Oracle Database 23 AI upgrade, and how are we going to validate performance of 23 AI before we go live, and how are we going to secure and to do the ongoing patching after we upgrade 23 AI. So here are the challenges that I've come across around as overall. Is we want to know ahead of time which version to upgrade to, so that we are prepared of what version to download or which database and what init.ora parameters have changed in Oracle 23 AI from the current version, and how it will impact database and SQL performance. We want to be proactive and perform load and throughput testing before deploying the upgrade in the production. After we go live, we want to make sure that system is secure, compliant, and up to date with the patches. We want to test all of this beforehand and be prepared for any unforeseen situations. Hence, one want to test the upgrade and validate the performance of the upgrade. On a higher level, we've divided this into 3 phases. One is pre-upgrade phase, where we are going to plan the upgrade, that is, decide the version of source and destination and have the test system ready, that is the clone of production database, and establish the performance baseline. And the next phase I have is upgrade and test, where we are going to test the upgrade system, that is, use the tools such as SQL Performance Analyzer to test the upgrade and to ensure the performance is not regressed. Even if it is regressed, then iteratively keep fixing those regressions before actually upgrading your production database. And third phase is go live. After you fix the regressions, next step is to go live. So get ready with the action items that you have encountered while testing the upgrade. Have them implemented in your production database, and after you upgrade, then get on to the ongoing assessments. So I'm going in this session, I'm going to go phase by phase so that we have a clear understanding of how are we going to upgrade to 23 AI. So I'm going to go with the first phase. In this pre-upgrade phase, I'm going to look at the challenges that we've discussed in my previous slides. Is how are we going to plan the upgrade, that is a version from source to destination, which version to use and which release to upgrade it to, and how to identify the changes with respect to the parameters in the new release. Yes. So let's understand the upgrade path, that is the current version of the database and the destination of the upgrade, that is 23 AI, database 23 AI. Here, there are 2 possible upgrade paths if you want to upgrade to 23 AI. One is from the older versions, that is 11G to 18C, where it will be a double hop, that is from 11G to 18C, then upgraded to 19C, and then to 23 AI. And the second part we have is either 19C or 21C to 23 AI. Let's now see the lifetime supports of this database version. So as we see here, 19C has with this extended support, premium support till 2029, and 23 AI is there till 2031. So sooner or later, if you want to get into AI, which is the favorite buzzword that's going on around, is you want to get your systems up to date and get them AI provisioned. So sooner or later, you definitely want to upgrade to 23 AI to adopt to the new technologies and new features that we have in terms of, AI related vector search and relational duality views. And if you want to know more about the release schedule of it, so you can definitely have a lifetime support policy that we have in one of our MOS notes. Yeah. So to know what are the new changes in the latest version, we have Aura Dev tool, which lists the added, removed, or modified parameters or objects, etc. So on your right-hand side, you could see that you can choose the source and release, source release or the target version to look at what are the changes that are there. So choose your source database and then choose your destination, which is the target. And then you can see what are the changes. So to your left on this side, you can see the various areas that's being listed based on the comparison. So if you want to look at if there are any specific privileges that have changed from 19C to 23 AI, you can go there and you will get the list of privileges. Or if you want to know about the parameters, you can get the list of parameters. So currently I've chosen the parameters and you can see how elaboratedly it's been explained that these are the added. And if you want to look at removed or modified, you can look at that. So this helps us, prep for what to do and which version, what are the changes that are there in the newest version and which version to go to, right? So for the best practices, for the pre-upgrade phase, we also need to follow the best practices because we are getting ready for testing the upgrade. So I've broadly divided into considerations that you want to keep in a check. And how do we set up test systems? And if we are upgrading, then how do we establish the performance baseline? So now that we have seen the upgrade paths and changes in 23 AI, here are a few best practices to ensure the smooth upgrade testing. So 23 AI is a multi-tenant. So ensure you're converting non-multi-tenant database to multi-tenant. You can also use migration workbench to accomplish this conversion, which is also a RAT functionality. Then we have remap all the connections to the respective PDBs, just to make sure that you're not getting connection error, while testing the upgrade. Ensure client connectivity is in place. Sometimes connect strings also need to be upgraded. And for that, we also have a MOS node. Perform a dictionary or health check prior to the upgrade so that we know that the issue is happening for, if there are any regressions, it's not happening because of something that's already there on the database. So you don't want to solve the issue which is already been there. So better make sure that your database is ready pre-upgrade, during the pre-upgrade. And gather optimizer stats to avoid potential downtime. So upgrade needs to be tested on the test or cloned database version, database. So have that ready before we test the upgrade. Have the test system resources such as CPU and IO bandwidth similar to the production, because we want to test in the similar database, which is close to what we have in the production database. And also have an appropriate backup strategy so that you know to fall back and then retest it if the need comes up. So before we dive into best practices of establishing performance baseline, to which we are going to compare the performance of the database during the upgrade. So for that, we have real application testing as a solution. So we have many components, and due to the time limitation and because it's just the one session, I'm going to just focus on SQL Performance Analyzer and Database Replay. So I'm going to deep dive into these two areas, and also we're going to cover vulnerability detection. So the performance baselines is we use SQL Performance Analyzer where we must ensure the establishing a performance baseline. As I've mentioned in earlier slides about having the test database, that is the clone of production database, we need to also make sure that testing the upgrade on a significant workload that is captured into a SQL tuning set. So make sure that the SQL tuning set is transported to the test system where we are going to run SQL Performance Analyzer, as we famously referred as SPA. There are few limitations to be aware. That is, we don't support PL SQLs and don't change the state of database. So make sure that is also there, that you're not changing the state of a production database, because we want to compare apples to apples. So we have to make sure that the database is at the same level. So SQL Performance Analyzer allows us to proactively identify regressed SQL before the change is applied and tells us how to improve or fix the regressed statements, so the upgrade is smooth. So here, if you look at the diagram, these are the key capabilities of SPA. That is, you take SQL tuning set as an input, which contains SQL statement and real production execution context and binds and optimizer settings, etc., are there in SQL tuning set. So it builds two trials. One is without any change, that is pre-change trial is the baseline, as we've been speaking about how do we establish performance baseline. And the other is the one with a post-change trial. So here, the post-change trial will be the upgrade. Still, it is a change on the database, but we are also testing the upgrade. So that would be your post-change trial. So have both of them compare, so which helps in identifying the impact of system changes between first and second trial. Then it generates the report that helps us to find and remediate the regressed SQLs if there is any SQL that is regressed after the change, that is after the upgrade. So remediate the regressions to maintain and improve SLAs. So here we also have the comparison report. This is how it would look at. You can look at how much is the CPU time before and after the upgrade, and if there are any SQLs that are changed or been affected in terms of performance. Are there any improved, regressed, or missing or new SQLs? And if there are any SQLs that are changed, that are affected due to the plan change, or maybe there are some things that optimizer stats have changed and that eventually has changed the plan. So you can also look at that in the report that we'll see when you're comparing pre-change trial to the post-change trial. So next is moving to the phase 2, where we are going to test the upgrade, that is upgrade and then test it. So in this, I'm going to walk through which tools to use and how do we make sure that it is a smooth upgrade, and what do we do when SQLs are regressed, and how can one perform load and throughput testing to identify the performance issues. So you can listen from United Airlines team in our EM Tech Forum that is happening in December 17th to December 19th. That is next week. And we are going to have Max Zaulia and Sunil Kalra from United Airlines who are going to talk about their experiences with the upgrade and general change assessment strategy in their organization. SPA is heavily used in United Airlines. So SPA is their go-to tool for performance prediction. It helped them during the upgrade, and which eventually gave them the opportunity to present their results to the application team to get the buy-in for upgrades and migrations. These are the best practices that United followed. They always go with incremental capture to avoid the overhead, run the workload during the maintenance window, and make sure the test database have similar configuration as your production database. If you have any questions for United Airlines, join us in Tech Forum, EM Tech Forum. As we've seen United Airlines best practices, Oracle recommends the following best practices as well. To stick to the default, always use initialization parameters as few as possible and understand your workload. So make one change at a time, and so that you know what are the effects or consequences of that change. And save the results and tuning artifacts to implement on the production database. These are the other best practices on SQL Performance Analyzer. Use hybrid mode and choose multiple comparison metrics. And in the report, as I've shown it before, keep checking on the number of executions and the rows that have been processed, and use convert STS trial option as a last resort, and pay attention to the executions in each trial, and ensure con ID and DB ID is mapped correctly to the destination, which we are also making sure before the upgrade, so that we are making sure that there are no connection issues. So we have Oracle SQL Performance Analyzer. If you really liked SQL Performance Analyzer, what we have is SPA as a service, which is SQL Performance Watch. We now have SPA as a service on cloud, which is a pay-as-you-go model. The key capabilities of SQL Performance Watch are it helps in identifying the impact of system changes, and it also has the optimized workflows, which has baked in with the best practices, and it generates the comprehensive report, which is used to assess the changes at the granular level. The benefits are, since it proactively identifies the potential issues, so it helps us in maintaining the SLAs, and it increases the business agility to adopt to the new technologies, which significantly reduces the cost. And as it is a subscription-based model and pay-as-you-go model, so it's easier. Just turn it on when you want to test the upgrade and turn it off when you don't want. So it's already GA. So if you are using cloud, please go ahead and explore SQL Performance Watch. So now you can also use Auto Upgrade Utility, which is recommended tool by RDBMS team for upgrades using Enterprise Manager. Fleet Maintenance, a comprehensive solution designed to secure databases against breaches in hybrid and multi-cloud environments, is an integral part of Enterprise Manager. Fleet Maintenance now allows you to integrate auto upgrade within the Enterprise Manager UI. This gives users the benefit of the rich and visual interface of Enterprise Manager, including simplified error identification and access to additional features like patch recommendations and target compliance reviews. Fleet Maintenance supports a variety of Oracle database configurations, including single instance databases, multi-tenant, that's CDB and PDBs, and rack configuration and grid infrastructure. And it can handle databases with or without data guard configuration and transparent data integration. Also, You can choose to convert your non-multi-tenant databases to multi-tenant during the upgrade process using options provided by fleet maintenance. So the next, now that we've looked at what is pre-upgrade and how are we going to test the upgrade, then the next step would be to go live. And how are we going to make sure that the go live is smooth? So we need to move the tuning artifacts. When we speak of tuning artifacts, it could be a lot of probably the SQL profiles or something that SQL Tuning Advisor has recommended to make sure that the regressions have been addressed. And also, how are we going to make sure the system is secure and compliant and up to date with the patches after we go live? So getting ready for go live, as I spoke of the tuning artifacts, so transport SQL profiles if there are any SQL profile changes that you've made or created or updated. And if there are any SQL plan baselines, move it to the production database and apply all the changes that Tuning Advisor has suggested, or if you have tuned during the upgrade, such as indexes, statistics refresh, etc. Changes in init.ora parameters, and apply one-off patches on the production database if there are any that you found during testing the upgrade. So upgrade to 23 AI with no fears and with a lot of confidence. Now that you've upgraded your databases, it's time to ensure that they are patched in a timely manner to ensure that they are compliant with security policies and are not vulnerable to breaches. Ensuring the data security is definitely a very difficult and complex task due to numerous challenges involved. So when it comes to breaches, there are two broad reasons. First reason is unpatched systems. What we have seen is that approximately 26% breaches are due to unpatched system, even though patches were available from Oracle but not applied. Unpatched systems are vulnerable and bad actors can easily target these databases. And misconfiguration and sprawl is another area of concern for various stakeholders. This has become the preferred ways for bad actors to exploit and get hold of sensitive data. More than 45% of the breaches are due to misconfigurations, and configuration sprawl adds to the vulnerability along with high operational cost, hard to maintain systems, and increased risk of human errors. So fleet maintenance is a versatile tool that can handle the patching and upgrading of Oracle database systems across a wide variety of environments, including traditional on-premises setups as well as cloud infrastructure like Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud. This tool offers flexibility through multiple interfaces such as APIs, command lines, and UI, allowing for a broad range of operations. Key features of fleet maintenance include patching and upgrading, which supports a variety of Oracle database configurations, including single instance database, multi-tenant, as I've mentioned earlier. Automated vulnerability assessment also provides and patch recommendations based on Oracle's new patch releases, allowing administrators to stay up to date with security fixes and improvements. And also end-to-end workflow, that is all, as it offers a comprehensive workflow that caters to both admin and operator tasks. The user-friendly interface simplifies administration tasks while maintaining advanced functionality for operator level. So auto upgrade integration, and which is a upgrade utility and a command line tool recommended by Oracle RDBMS team, helps in upgrading databases effectively. However, it may be challenging to troubleshoot errors via the command line. Fleet maintenance now allows you to integrate auto upgrade within the Enterprise Manager UI, which comes with its own benefits, which is with rich and visual interface of Enterprise Manager, including simplified error identification and access to additional features like patch recommendation and target compliance reviews. And we have fleet patching and provisioning, which is famously called it as FPP, similar to auto upgrade. An FPP can be utilized through Enterprise Manager, allowing you to take advantage of its full set of features to enhance your patching and upgrading processes. Overall, fleet maintenance aims to streamline database patching and upgrades across various environments by offering an integrated, user-friendly solution that brings together multiple tools and processes in one place. So we strongly recommend that you adopt a quarterly patching model or you try to patch more often if you are patching once a year. The above diagram suggests that if you miss a quarterly patching cycle for next cycle, the patches and vulnerabilities are quite high. So if you compare the first and the last cycle, the number of vulnerabilities and unaddressed in your systems makes them an easy candidate for breach. And Enterprise Manager IT spends almost 12 plus weeks in a year for one DBA to complete a patch assessment. So you can now automate the entire manual patch assessment with Fleet Maintenance Hub, just a few clicks away. So you have an accurate recommendations and impact report. Once you know which gold images are impacted due to the new patch recommendations, you can again use Fleet Maintenance Hub to refresh them and patch targets. So let's look at the vulnerability detection services. So this is also on cloud. If you're using cloud, please go ahead and use this and let us know how you find this feature. So using vulnerability detection service, you can always elevate your security postures because it gives us the insights of database deployed on-premises and base database service virtual and helps us review critical patch update notifications and also find out the vulnerable databases and also look at precisely security patch recommendations for each one. Using this service, you can enhance your security posture, reduce breaches, and maintain your outages easily. And then here are a few best practices for patching. We recommend that you install latest RU and monthly recommended patches and review performance bug fixes along with recommended one-off patches. And thank you. That's all I have. If you want to look at the resources, we have an oracle.com manageability. And if you want to look at the blogs exclusively for observability and management and about the topics that I've presented today, please visit blogs.oracle.com/observability.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add one other comment. I was expecting somebody would ask this, but as Anusha pointed, we have this new capability on the cloud, which is the SQL Performance Watch. At a first look, it may look very similar to the SQL Performance Analyzer functionality that we have on premises. But a lot of times, customers have said that, hey, to buy on-premises license is generally a little bit more expensive than using the pay-as-you-go model on the cloud. So based on the customer request, we heard that, and then we are offering this as a subscription service. So typically, an upgrade happens every 2, 3 years, like, with a major release, 3 years, like from 19C to say, for example, you want to go to 23 AI and so on. So a lot of customers said, hey, like I'm not going to use it every time. So I just want to use it for a couple of months and then test it thoroughly and move forward, right? So this is exactly what we are trying to offer now as a SQL Performance Analyzer as a service. And besides that, we wanted to add even make it more robust in terms of baking in the best practices into the service, as well as adding more cooler features that we have built over time. For example, workload analysis, having a repository of these results from your testing that you can keep. Say you want to compare the performance of 19C versus 23 AI over like 2, 3 years, then you can gradually trend the results and see how the performance is improving or regressing. So the idea is to have a repository to use it more on a continuous basis, like on a day-to-day basis, to detect any changes in plans and so on. So the in the first cart, we have basically supported the upgrade and the basic uh, flows, such as parameter changes or any custom changes that you may have. But going forward, we would add more functionality that would make it really compelling, and also importantly, as I said, offer a lower cost alternative to SQL Performance Analyzer. So that is the whole point of having this on the cloud.
Observability associated with operations, such as performance with Vector DB 23 AI. Do we have anything new in the OEM 24 version?
So yeah, that's a good question. So asking that. Some of the things that we have been doing, and we haven't made much noise about it, is that as the DB team is introducing these new cool features for the Vector DB, we have been instrumenting our backend and silently doing that. For example, with the vector operations, like for example, you may be using vector inverted indexes or hierarchical indexes called H and SW. So we basically have instrumented our SQL monitoring code, for example, the execution plans, as well as AWR statistics. We have a lot of wait events and DB time model that is now actually will work with your vector indexes. So so you can use all these cool new features in 23 AI with the assurance that you have full support of the manageability behind that, so you can diagnose bottlenecks in your performance with vector indexes, with wait events and DB time and so on. So everything should work as is, and basically it's baked into the back end. So enterprise manager will basically pinpoint and highlight as using the same old techniques that you would use. So there's nothing new you have to learn when you're using vector indexes, how, where the bottlenecks are, where the wait events are, and how to tune that and so on. Thank you. And finally, one more question. Are all options mentioned in the presentation extra cost options or included in the e-license? So this is actually a service on the OCI. It's a OCI service. And Anusha, I don't know if you have a slide to talk about the uh, pricing and such requirement, such uh, you know details on the pricing, so you can maybe present that.
Yeah, 1 second, let me.
So it is not an included option, to be more specific, with the Enterprise Edition. So of course you would need Enterprise Edition, and then you would need to subscribe this. And today this is available for on-premises database, because on the cloud, as you alluded, uh, basically with that Enterprise Edition, you get real application testing. It's already bundled into the product, right? So the diagnostics and tuning pack with the Enterprise Edition. However, for on-premises databases, if you uh, don't want to really migrate the database to the cloud, but you want to keep it there, and then you still want to use a lower cost option, then you would basically benefit from this service. Go ahead, Anusha.
Yeah, so this is we've put together the comparison between what we have currently with real application testing to versus what we are going to get for SQL Performance Watch. So this is just on a very high level and on the pricing question. So for on-premises, we have it on top of Enterprise Edition, real application testing, which includes SPA and DB replay. And for SQL Performance Watch, it's going to be SPA as a service on OCI, and it's based on subscription-based and pay-as-you-go model. And for now, it's 40 per month per CPU port. That's what you got to pay. And on the other side, which is for on-premises, it's $11,500 per year per CPU, and adding the support cost. And typically it is for 4-year cycle. So we come down to $14,000 and assume 8 processor machine, and then it's going to be much higher than what we could get it from SQL Performance Watch.
Yeah, you think that it would be good to have this implicitly, set or update the statistics to the latest time, right? But however, any such change can be good or bad, because you also need to understand the kind of change. Like, for example, you may be moving from, you know, a commodity hardware to Exadata, and therefore you may need some Exadata. So there is a lot of possibilities. The key thing to remember is that whenever you have change, of course, AI can recommend things and then can make it easier for you. But finally, the onus at this point is on the user or the DBA at this point to make sure that those are tested out thoroughly, right? So what we're talking about is the testing mechanism, irrespective of what the recommendation is. So yes, ideally, I would expect, database to make sure that, the system statistics are up to date. It's a little bit more complicated because then you'll have to know the kind of the subsystem of IO or the CPU, how fast they are in terms of IOPS or the megahertz and so on, how much memory you have and so on, right? So again, the best thing is to test it out, and that's basically has been the missing piece of the puzzle, to test it out. And this is what SQL Performance Analyzer and SQL Performance Watch are providing you. So in general, even though you can give recommendations, but to validate the recommendations is more important, so hence we have this product. So we do have a customer, United Airlines, Anusha has mentioned. They have a very interesting way to use SQL Performance Analyzer for their upgrades and mission critical operations, using Golden Gate and using the failover and fallback. So please do attend the Tech Forum session to see how United Airlines is using SQL Performance Analyzer and following the best practices. Be aware of how other customers are using and then draw from that. That would be awesome.
Thank you so much for your participation and your patience. We really appreciate your time. And with that, Anusha and GP, I can conclude the rest of this call.
Thank you.
Session. Have a great rest of your day.